Have you ever bought a hat that claims to be one size fits all, but then you put it on and suddenly you're looking like Baby Mario or Arnold from Hey Arnold? Yeah, that's because it's kind of impossible to come up with one solution that works for everyone. And just like there's no such thing as a one-size-fits-all hat, there's not a one-solution-fits-all fix when it comes to sustainability. Different communities, countries, and cultures can have different values and needs that cause them to understand sustainability differently. Like taxing plastic bottles could be a good move for a wealthy city like Palo Alto, but over in Flint, Michigan, which suffered a major water crisis starting in 2014, it might be more important to make sure everybody has water at all, regardless of what container it comes in. So if our plans aren't taking that diversity and nuance into account, we won't just be missing out on some really effective, powerful ideas, we'll risk leaving entire communities out of a conversation that's important to all of us. Hi, I'm Miriam Nielsen, and this is Study Hall Sustainability. Like we've talked about before, sustainability isn't just about the environment. It's about making sure that humans and the Earth can both thrive and live in balance. There are a lot of different ideas about what exactly that means and how sustainability can make the world better. But while that can sometimes make these conversations a little messy, it's ultimately a good thing. Sustainability experts argue for incorporating a large number of perspectives, or a plurality, into our decision-making processes. A plurality involves ensuring that people from as many backgrounds as possible have a seat at the table, and that everyone can share their knowledge so that decisions benefit as many people as possible. Like, say your city decided to add a new multi-use trail throughout town to encourage people to walk or ride bikes instead of driving. A committee draws up plans, and then the mayor asks people from different parts of the community, hey, what do you think about this? Well, some people point out that the current proposal is too hilly for the community's wheelchair users, others point out that the new paths are too far from underserved neighborhoods to be useful, another group points out that one path will disrupt the breeding site for an endangered bird species, and Mr. Baker is adamant the new trail should be pink, to match his newly painted house. So the mayor and their committee take their plans back to the drawing board. They choose new routes that are flatter and add switchback ramps to help wheelchairs get up unavoidable hills. They also put in new access points for more people in more neighborhoods, and they reroute one path to make sure the birds stay safe too. But the concrete dye is just too expensive, so Mr. Baker's pink trail idea goes out the window. You can't always get what you want. Now, in real life, mayors and neighborhood committees aren't always so great at making changes. A lot of people's wants and needs end up going the way of Mr. Baker's, and usually it's a bigger deal than not getting a pink trail. But opening the table to conversations like this gives us a chance to hear everybody out. And if we can do it right, collaborating can help make sure that projects serve as many people as possible, and that people will actually use them. When we get into complex global issues like climate change, we have to take the collaboration up a notch. There are thousands of variables to think about and as many perspectives to consider as there are communities on Earth. One way we can better understand these complex systems is by making models to represent them. These models can't walk the catwalk at Fashion Week, but they can help us figure out whether our sustainability solutions are hot or not. Like a closet full of empty shelves and hangers, they're frameworks we can use to organize all these variables and figure out what to do with them. They help us represent different interpretations of sustainability so we can understand where all those different people and communities might be coming from. In general, they start by breaking sustainability into 3 parts, or dimensions. They're the same dimensions we talked about in the series so far: the environment, human societies, and economies. And those dimensions don't just fit together one way. There are lots of ways to think about how they interact with each other and which systems we should prioritize. For instance, we could think of these 3 dimensions like layers of an onion. The environment is the outer layer, inside the environment is society, and inside society is the economy. That's the nested system model, and it says we have to act now to protect the environment, because the environment supports all the human activities that happen inside of it. Like we talked about in our episode about systems, you can't exactly have a thriving, just society without drinkable water and food, or any society, considering we'd all be dead. So this model says our societies and economies should make decisions that put saving the planet first. But sometimes the order of importance between those systems shifts. If your country is in a huge recession where people can't afford food or rent, you might have to focus on the economy first. That way people can get their basic needs met again and have time and money to invest in your new heat pump initiative later. Following the nested systems model doesn't always allow for that give and take. So maybe we try the 3 pillars model instead. That one views the environment, society, and economy as equally important, but separate systems. They're like 3 pillars in a Greek temple holding up the roof of sustainability. To keep that roof from crumbling, each system needs to work on its own and together. Like, say while we're busy fixing the recession, a train derailment causes chemicals to pollute a major watershed, threatening the local ecosystem. And then, at the same time, riots break out in a nearby city, threatening people's homes and businesses. In that situation, the economic, environmental, and social pillars all need immediate attention in order to keep people and the environment safe. The three pillars model helps us see that sustainability depends on a lot of different factors, and we have to take care of all of them in order to hold up the roof. But if the nested systems model isn't always flexible enough, the three pillars model can sometimes be too flexible. So there's also the overlapping spheres model. Here, the environment, society, and the economy are interlinked. Our actions in one dimension can impact what happens in other dimensions too. Like, maybe we find out that the train derailment wasn't random at all. The recession caused the rail company to lay off some of its safety inspectors and put off necessary repairs to their chemical-carrying rail cars. And the contaminated watershed didn't just threaten the local plants and animals. It left thousands of people without drinkable water. And that stress and uncertainty is what led to the riots in the nearby city. But the riots in the watershed still need to be addressed immediately, faster than we can fix a nationwide recession. So addressing any one of these problems without thinking about the other ones doesn't make much sense. The overlapping spheres model asks us to consider how the three dimensions overlap and support each other, and how upsets in one can spell bad news for the other ones too. There's also another way to think about how the three core systems are interlinked. In our episode on intra- and intergenerational justice, we introduced the planetary boundaries model. It says humans can only thrive if we stay within specific environmental limits, like how much fresh water we can use or how much carbon dioxide we can put into the atmosphere. If we cross one of those planetary thresholds, we'll create irreversible environmental damage that will affect our ability to live on Earth. There's also the donut model, a modification of the planetary boundaries model that includes social limits. Thresholds we have to make sure we meet so that everyone can have what they need. Like, maybe watersheds that people need to survive should have more protections against chemical-carrying railcars in the first place. These models are great for helping us balance different priorities and complex problems, but they're just a few ideas. There are many other approaches to sustainability happening all over the world. After all, we experience the environment, society, and economies in different ways depending on our values and beliefs. Our perspectives are shaped by our culture, and what our cultures value will affect not only how we think about sustainability, but what we do about it. For instance, the Menominee Nation from the areas now known as Wisconsin, Michigan, and Illinois place a strong cultural value on forests' freedom to regenerate with little intervention from humans. So they built a sustainability practice of harvesting only sick, mature, or fallen trees, and letting the rest of them keep growing. And it works. Without planting any trees themselves, the Menominee have nurtured a forest ecosystem that has more trees now than it did 100 years ago. That makes the Menominee Forest one of the largest human-stewarded structures in the world. It's so big you can even see the results of their work from space. And it's all thanks to their cultural perspective on sustainability. The Menominee's culture informed not just what they valued, in this case healthy forest, but also how they acted to protect those values. Similarly, down in South America, there's the idea of Sumac Casi, or Buen Vivir. It's a sustainability model from the indigenous Quechua people of Bolivia, Ecuador, and Peru. Buen Vivir, or good living, is the idea that we should live in harmony with ourselves, others, and the environment. Kind of like the overlapping spheres model. It sees those dimensions as interconnected, building on each other to create, well, good life. Buen Vivir says we have to remember that humans don't own the Earth, so we can't keep thinking of the planet as natural capital or a resource to be bought and sold. But of course, in the capitalist economies that dominate our world, we love to buy and sell. Like, some sustainability regulators think carbon offset credits are a good way to clean up our atmosphere. There are different versions of this system, but the basic idea is this. A company that wants to emit carbon dioxide would have to buy credits from an organization that's removed carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. So if I'm a manufacturing plant who wants to emit 100 tons of carbon dioxide this year, I might buy 100 credits from a company preserving a section of the Peruvian rainforest. That might seem like a reasonable approach. It values the environment, but also accounts for the fact that right now, some human industries argue that they need fossil fuels to work. In big consumer cultures like we see in the US, this system might seem like a great way to balance our three dimensions. But even though those credits might, and that is a big might, help protect a Peruvian rainforest, the system still doesn't mesh with Buen Vivir. Carbon offset credits let companies buy their way out of making more sustainable choices. It treats the environment as something we have the right to buy and sell, and puts economic benefit above the collective good, which would be reducing emissions wherever and whenever we can. Looking at issues through all these different lenses can help us work together and maybe even inspire new approaches to difficult problems. Like, maybe the industrial loggers destroying the Amazon could take a page out of the Menominee's forest management book. Or maybe Mr. Baker can argue his pink trail is an essential part of his personal good living. Sustainability is a lot more than a one-size-fits-all hat. It's a whole cool, fashionable outfit made up of a lot of different pieces, priorities, and perspectives. Sometimes they work together beautifully. The long red shirt, the turquoise sweater, the tiny blue hat. absolutely iconic. But other times it doesn't work out so easily, and when people disagree, it's often the more marginalized priorities and perspectives that go the way of Mr. Baker's pink trail. But sustainability isn't just about the needs of the most powerful and privileged, it's about creating a world that works for everyone. And in order to do that, we need to make sure that lots of different viewpoints, cultures, values, and interpretations are heard, seen, and respected. Because sustainability only works if it works for everyone. If you're enjoying this series and are interested in taking the full Study Hall Sustainability course and earning college credit from ASU, check out gostudyhall.com or click the button to learn more. And if you want to help us out, give this video a like, comment whether hats usually fit your head, and smash that subscribe button. Thanks for watching, see you next time.